Hi Seekers, today is Saturday, 11th April 2020. I am Vincent and I'm here with Groot, and I, as usual, would like to share with you our worldview and our view on the state of affairs during this global pandemic of coronavirus. What's going on in the world today? A lot. Too much to mention. There are many things on many levels happening, on the geopolitical level, on the spiritual level, on the economic level, on the societal and political levels. But they will probably have to be the subject of a video, each one of them. Today I want to focus on the virus itself. As I received earlier today a question by WhatsApp from a friend in Nigeria, which made me think a bit harder about the nature of this virus and how it's interacting with human beings. I would like to share that with you. And of course, it's my personal opinion, and it depends highly on my entire worldview. So I'll quickly share with you my worldview generally so that you know where I'm coming from. It took me 20 years, but I finally realized that we are pure consciousness existing in multidimensional realms beyond time and space, and that we are simply having a transient experience as incarnated human beings on Earth in a limited number of dimensions, which is more manageable so that we can mature as consciousness and increase our control of our vibrational state and increase our ability of knowing ourselves. So that's where I'm coming from, and obviously everyone is free to have a different opinion. One could compare the human experience on Earth to a virtual reality game, online game, for example, or to the piloting of a drone that is sent on another planet to explore a planet, for example. So from that point of view, I see us as consciousness operating through a body. And the body, what is it really? It's basically a bunch of cells that share a common DNA, a unique DNA to each person. And how this DNA was built? It was built by taking half of the DNA of the father, half of the DNA of the mother, to build a new unique DNA that becomes the blueprint for the embryo, then the kid, then the adult, and so on and so forth. And that DNA contains all the information for each cell to be built as a piece of hair, a piece of tooth, skin, any of our organs, and so on and so forth. And how do we get the materials to build all those cells? It's by eating. So we simply eat and drink, and we gather inert materials, and we gather living cells from vegetables, and we gather living cells sometimes from the dead meat of some animals. And through a very complex process, once we ingest the cells of whatever we eat, we have to transform it into new cells for our own body. And so we take cells which either have no DNA or have the DNA of another living organism, and we have to transform it into cells with our DNA. So we have to break down the DNA of the cells of what we eat to rebuild the new cells with our DNA. So, and how we do that is by a very complex mechanism that involves communication between our cells and the cells we are eating to break down those DNA, and through RNA communication, so transport the information of our DNA and make new cells with our DNA. So the RNA and the DNA is essential to the well-being and the functionality of our body. Now comes along a virus. What is a virus? It's basically just a molecule of RNA contained in an envelope that has different features that make it more or less resistant and more or less able to stick to and permeate a human cell or the cell of any host, an animal host or a human host or whatever. So it's really very interesting because what it means that a virus is essentially a piece of information. It's essentially a program, an instruction to modify the cells of the host. So in the case of the coronavirus, what does it do? It sticks to human cells in the lungs, in particular, but it can do it anywhere in the body, but it's mostly in the lungs. It sticks to that cell, then it permeates it, it delivers the molecule of RNA in the cell, and that RNA reaching the cell is decoded in the cell, and the instructions are implemented. So our consciousness is competing with the virus in terms of instructing our cells what to do. The virus is telling our cells to multiply itself and self-destruct. And our consciousness is trying to tell our body to simply stay in integrity and health and joy and kindness and gratitude. But unfortunately, we are not all constantly in tune with the perfect frequency of our own DNA. We are not always exactly faithful to and sticking to who we truly are. So that's how it works. It's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit as if you are on the internet with your computer, you receive an email, you don't know who it is, because you don't want to think too much or because you never receive much emails and you don't know how to recognize a spam from a genuine email. You open it and unwittingly you release and you launch the virus program, which basically starts eating up your data or transferring your data, and often it ends up destroying your computer. So what can we do to avoid being infected by the virus? That has been said many times, wash your hands, blah, blah, blah. That is to even prevent the virus to touch your cells, your vulnerable cells in the lungs. But you know, there is also another thing, which is to increase your immune system. And what does it mean to increase your immune system? It means, first of all, to be in a very strong state of mind. And when we do that, when we are in perfect attunement, perfect harmony with the frequency, the highest frequency that resonates with our DNA, we feel enormous energy, we feel presence in now, we feel joy, energy, gratitude, kindness, marvelous harmony with all that is. So you can constantly, consciously or unconsciously, when you are joyous, when you are well, in fact, you are constantly giving the instruction to your body, let's stay alive, let's stay healthy, let's enjoy this life. And your cells are used to receiving these very soothing messages from your consciousness. Stay well, repair yourself, regenerate at the right pace. Let's keep this body alive. Now, unfortunately, many of us have a life of confusion, sometimes of negativity, and we feel disconnected with the rest of the universe, and we feel disconnected even with our own body. And then what happens is that we are not perfectly in sync. Our consciousness is not perfectly in sync with the frequency that is favorable to the conservation of our DNA, conservation of our cells, and perfect reproduction of our DNA in every of our cells. Of course, for that we also need a very good hydration. We need exercise to maintain the circulation and the communication between our cells. And that's what I believe is happening right now on this planet, is that basically this virus is a kind of last warning from the universe to each one of us, and all of us collectively, and each one of us individually. My friend, either you are now going to align yourself with yourself, have your consciousness in harmony with your thoughts, in harmony with your communication, in harmony with your actions, and everything will be fine. Or you keep this functional relationship with our body, this functional relationship with our bodies. So you can actually die in two ways of suffocation through the COVID-19. One is by losing all your lung cells to the virus. The other is when your immune system overreacts and drowns your lungs. At least that's what we have understood. And also, obviously, the quality of the food. I would like to stress that very much, because we have seen that there is a very high mortality rate with the population who have heart diseases, diabetes, obesity, people who take cancer treatments. It's important to keep our consciousness positive, harmonious, focused on the joy of being alive, on the kindness, the fun, and even sometimes a honest bout of anger. If something does not sit well with you, it's okay to have a moment of anger and express it honestly and verbally. It's much better than to repress our emotions. And so in this time when we are in lockdown and maybe a little bit under pressure sometimes, it's okay to express what is not okay in relationships or in organization, in the house. So this is really the last warning. Retune yourself to who you are, retune yourself to your body, live healthily, hydrate, nourish your body with quality food, not processed food, food that you can easily transform into healthy cells with your DNA without malfunction, and in constant communication. Meditation is communication with the entire universe, but of course it starts with your own body. And when you do that, when you communicate regularly with yourself, with your body, with your mind, with the entire universe, it means your cells know now what is your voice. They know you. They know when an instruction comes from you, they can do it in total trust. And they know that when an instruction comes that is absolutely not in the right vibration, it will not be received, it will not be implemented. So that's my view on how a virus succeeds in infecting some people and does not succeed in infecting others. And even when it succeeds in infecting somebody, if you are in good resonance with your DNA and with your cells, you will be able to address the virus much more efficiently with a very strong and performant and efficient immune system. Really, what I'm advocating here is, I'm advocating, number one, meditation, so that we can refocus our presence to now and our fine-tuning of our vibration to the highest vibration we can achieve, that is in resonance with our DNA. So in more plain language, to be exactly who we are and not try to be somebody else, not regret not to be somebody else, regret to not to have different circumstances or things like that. let's accept who we are and where we are and in which circumstances we are. That's the first step. Second step is to boost our immune system as much as we can. If we eat fresh produce, if we drink a lot of water, hydrate ourselves properly, exercise, and have a decent rhythm of life with good sleep and good exercise, good sleep at night, good exercise during the day, not too many meals, but regularly, and fresh produce with a lot of hydration between the meals. And of course, a bit of interaction with nature, at least with sunshine. We have the optimal circumstances for our body to have a balanced and strong, but not excessive, immune system. Of course, that's not always sufficient. So essentially, that's what I wanted to share with you today, together with Vincent and Vian, to make sure that you don't assume that your role with this virus is only to stay at home and pray for the best. You can impact the consequence of this virus on your body, on your mind, on your life. And it does not need to be a tragedy. Thank you very much. So long, seekers.